Okay.
Okay. Where is it? It's here. Okay, so things that we're going over is standing positions and what to do. So we talked about the idea of when I get underhooks, I want to bring my hips in, like so, get my hips under their hips. My opponent wants to bring his hips out, break that connection. Same thing from a single underhook. If I have one underhook like so, I want to close this space, bring my elbow up and my hips in. Now I'm in a good position. What my opponent wants to do is move his hips out and square them up and move away.
Okay.
So underhooks, always hips in, overhooks, hips away, unless you're actually prepared to go in and do Uchimata, for example.
Okay.
Exactly. Other things we talked about is distance. A lot of the times, like beginners will go head to head. They'll lock up and it'll almost be like a stalling position because we can feel what our opponent's going to do. So if we go head to head and my opponent shoots, I can feel and I can move back and keep safe. So to combat this, I push off my opponent's shoulders, and now we're going to start wrestling at this distance, one hand length apart. From here, I want to get hands off my head and shoulders, and then bring hands back onto my opponent's head and shoulders. When I pull my opponent's head down, it prevents opportunities for me to punch underhooks and then get my hips in, like we talked about.
Okay.
One good tip to help out with is bring your thumbs up towards the ceiling, opposed to palms down, where you're kind of exposing the underhook a little bit. So we're a little bit like here. Now we're wrestling like this. The goal is to bring hands up to the head, pull on the head, which will create opportunities for underhooks or opportunities where your opponent postures up and you might do double legs and things like that.
Okay.
What we're going to look at is using this distance and keeping at this distance the whole time. So if I'm moving towards you, you keep this distance, and we're going to avoid locking up into these tie-ups, and we can start clearing, coming back to the head, getting underhooks ourselves.
Okay.
So we're at that position, boom, you can push me around, you're going to stay here. Good.
If I knock this down and pull the head down to get this out.
Nice.
Grab.
And now another thing we're going to look at is if I do try to slap in an underhook, because my goal really is to throw my elbow under my opponent's elbow. So if I can do this, just like I'm throwing dice, if I can throw, see how my elbow got to the inside of my opponent's elbow?
Yeah.
Now I just need to punch up. Now this is the underhook. Now I close the space, lock my hands. So a lot of the best, Sudalia is the best wrestler in the world, and his best move is as people go for a collar tie, he slaps this in and just like runs them down. So his timing to throw in his underhooks is really good.
Okay.
So what you want to do to combat that is to get calibrated to bring your elbows back to your body.
And this reminds you of it versus your hands out like this.
Yeah, it doesn't remind you of it, but if you watch my elbows, they naturally turn in when my thumb turns down. My elbows naturally.
I really noticed it when you pull my head forward because my hands want to like stop myself on the ground,
Yeah,
which makes my arms go up. And
yeah, that's a good point.
you know.
So we're gonna wrestle a little bit. I'm gonna try to throw on some underhooks, and then you're doing a good job bringing them back.
You said I can just
Yeah.
keep them out here still. I don't have to bring them all the way back.
Correct. You just need to turn your elbow towards your body. Exactly. That's why techniques like this work, where you grab the head and I physically open the elbow and then I punch my hand in. So if you grab my head, a great way to get an underhook as well, punch and move into the space.
Oh, okay. So you move forward right
Move
away.
forward. So you can try that where this hand pushes that open.
Punch.
Then you get your underhook. Exactly. Because if you let my elbow, you try to get an underhook, I bring my elbow back in. So as you punch, it opens it up, and it works with the concept that they're working on today.
Okay.
Cool. Don't want to make it too long because it'll be